The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
What do we got? Anything going on that we're interested in? I see the Rams thread is still going strong. I mean, goddamn, people hate those uniforms.
They're bad. They're still bad.
Yeah.
I gave up on trying to find the redeeming qualities like I told you guys I was doing last week.
Yeah.
Right. Like the only thing that I'm even thinking about buying at this point is the hat with the Ram head logo on it, but they currently only sell them in snapback for whatever reason. I'm looking for a fitted. But
Mike made a really good point in that thread. I think it was today or maybe earlier or like yesterday, last night. It was we were talking about the experimental versus being good. I can't remember the way you put it, but I'm like, God, that hit the nail right on the head.
Well, no, it's like basically that every sport has its established aesthetics, and you can break away from that, but that's called experimentation, and that implies you're going to have failures.
Right.
So the question is, even if the Rams uniform is a failure, does it still get props for trying to break new ground? And I'd say no.
No,
what ground is it breaking? Gradient numbers. Woo! Look at you.
Are we
talking about the bone?
I mean, we're talking about like sports uniforms, and it's very simple. You either look good or you don't. You don't get points for looking bad nobly.
Right, exactly.
But no, it was specifically in reference to a conversation I had with DG now about the bone uniform and how it is kind of aping, design trends, and he was arguing that, it's good that they're trying to be fashion forward and not be confined by what is traditionally a football uniform. And I was arguing that doesn't matter if it looks ugly.
Right, and it doesn't. I completely agree. The Pontiac Aztec, the car that Walter White drove in Breaking Bad, was kind of a groundbreaking design, and it was uglier than shit. So, do they get points for taking a chance with it? I guess, but nobody bought the damn thing, and everybody thought it was the most ridiculous looking vehicle they'd ever seen in their lives. I'm with you, Mike. It's like if it looks like shit, it looks like shit. End of story. I don't care how bold your experimentation was; it still looks bad, plain and simple.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to understand that argument. It's not just that the bone color it's a non-white road uniform. It's that they're trying to be fashion forward by including the tag, or what does he mean by that?
Just the fact that the color is going to look good in streetwear, that it kind of has stuff like the name patch and the tags that are like mimicking stuff.
Well, it's making something that's going to look good with streetwear. Two things. One, there's fashion jerseys that if you really want something that looks good with streetwear, you can go get it. And two, you know what looks good with streetwear? Really good jerseys.
Yeah.
Like, do you think the hip hop landscape of the 2000s and the 90s, when they're just wearing Yankee jerseys or Cowboys jerseys or whatever, that they wore them because they're fashion forward and pushing the boundaries, or because they're just good designed jerseys?
Remember when everybody like in hip hop was wearing Mitchell and Ness throwbacks? Yeah, not a whole lot of forward thinking going on there. I mean, it was all like old Gale Sayers and Earl Campbell and going back in the day, Bob Greasy. I forget what was the very first Mitchell and Ness jersey that really took off. But they were all throwbacks, is my point. Not one of them was a quote-unquote forward-thinking, fashion-forward jersey. They were all throwbacks, and they were the biggest thing going for a while there. I mean, my God, those things are costing, $400 or $500 a piece at the time. And that was back in, early 2000s.
No, Mitchell and Ness and the throwbacks drove up the jersey market.
Yeah.
To an incredible amount. I remember really wanting some throwback jerseys, and the only main supplier at the time was Mitchell and Ness.
Yep.
And there was no way that myself as a high schooler could afford to get anything that I wanted. And then, additionally, they, because of the trends, they made them all 700 sizes too big, and so I didn't really want them anywhere.
Well, not only that, but like the original Mitchell and Ness NHL throwbacks were like to the point where they were made like wool.
Yeah.
And it's like I just want like a regular hockey jersey, but in like the old design, which is eventually what they ended up making. But.
Yeah, finally the leagues figured it out and said, hey, we can license these ourselves and take all the money. I mean, I think Mitchell and Ness still does some stuff, but
yeah.
I think that the like in the NFL they figured out like we can sell our own Gale Sayers jersey from the Bears, charge a third of the price for it, and sell a ton of them, and we get all the money. We don't get just a licensing fee; we get all the cash this way. So, but yeah, that wasn't fashion forward at all, and I don't get the argument either. I mean, innovation is great when it works, and when it doesn't, you don't remember it.
Well, and the other thing about that too is like if you're going to be fashion forward and somebody buys a Rams jersey because it's fashion forward, that doesn't make them Rams fans. That doesn't even necessarily make it a successful jersey. It just makes it a cool T-shirt, which isn't the same thing as an enduring sports brand.
Well, I don't think you guys probably too young to remember it, but when the Rockies came into the league and when the purple and teal thing really took off.
Yeah.
Everywhere you looked was a Colorado Rockies hat. It was a great hat. Don't get me wrong. But the point is that, doesn't make you a fan. You're right. And
I mean, the whole thing about it, right, is that fashion is by its whole thing fleeting. And I pointed this out to someone else in the thread who were going like, someone else said like the things that, you were into as a teenager are no longer in style. This is what is in style. And I responded, yes, the things that were in style when I was a teenager are no longer in style, but that also means that what's in style now isn't always going to be in style. So this Rams jersey is going to seem very dated, like it's not meant to last.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. When people throw that insult out on the boards, I don't know if they mean it as an insult or not, but it's like, you just like it was popular when you were young. It's like, yeah, exactly. And that's what you're doing right now. And you've got to take, especially in the uniform game, you've got to take yourself out of what's hot at the time and look at it from a kind of a historical perspective and go, what works, what doesn't. And that's the way you see it. I mean, God, there were things that I think I told you guys this in the 80s. There were so many I'm like, these clothes are really cool. I would be caught dead in them now, and that's the perspective on it. It's just like, so the youngsters are all going, these things are fire and they're this and that. Yeah. Okay, fine. And in 5 years, you're going to look at that picture and go, I can't believe I wore that damn thing. And that's the way it always turns out with these the cutting edge design, what's hot right now shit. We saw.
I mean, everyone thought all of those uniforms in baseball in the 70s were cutting edge, and then they all got rid of them because they looked dumb.
Yeah. I know people love that Astros Tequila Sunrise jersey, but that's because it's kitschy. It's weird. It's not because it's good. Because it's not a good jersey. It's not. It's fun.
I would think that if there were anybody on the board or anybody on our boards would understand that point, because we label these trends, whether it's the black for black's sake,
right,
or Volt, or throwbacks, or the purple and teal. Like, think today of the only team that the purple and teal look has survived with is the Charlotte Bobcat, or the Charlotte Hornets. Sorry,
Bobcats.
I was saying Bobcats because, I was saying Bobcats because
they're also the Bobcats.
Well, right, that's what I mean. Is that yes, the Charlotte Hornets now are still wearing those colors, but that's with a pit stop in between for the Bobcats, and the Hornets as they were in, if all things had stayed put, or had stayed as they were a couple of years ago, I guarantee if the Hornets hadn't been allowed to trade the uniform history from New Orleans back to Charlotte and confuse our whole lives, that the Hornets probably would have just changed the name to the Pelicans, and the Bobcats might have just been the Bobcats and just lived that way.
Yeah.
The only reason they brought back the teal and purple is because that's just what they were. The Diamondbacks have changed. The Ducks have changed. The Devil Rays have changed. The Rockies still hold on to the purple, but I think that works more for them, and then you get the whole Purple Mountain Majesty sort of idea.
Well, and purple was never their primary color. It was always the black and white, basically, the pinstripes with the dashes of purple, and it worked. I think I don't think that the Rockies have a great look, but it's not terrible. It's just there, and it works for them. I couldn't imagine them anything else. But
no, but when it comes to following the trends, those come and go. Everybody turning to black, well, that has changed now, where you see everybody going to bright colors. It's just, teams are always going to follow trends, but then you're going to get stuck in a situation where you don't have an identity. There are teams that sure you can throw in alternates to get your black for black's sake, or whatever you want, your whatever. But the teams that are consistently successful and will survive the test of time are the ones that just are good designs, flat out, no matter what the age is.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at any like NHL jersey ranking, I don't know how long the Blackhawks have been wearing this iteration of their current look or their jersey, but it's not a whole hell of a lot different from what they were, say, 40 years ago.
I think they've worn the red jersey since the 40s.
Yeah, and any ranking's going to put that one right at least near the top, if not at the top.
The Canadiens jerseys are untouchable. The New York Yankees jerseys are untouchable. Nobody messes with these designs.
Yeah. Like even a classic team like your Maple Leafs, Mike, when they do change, they don't change to black and teal or anthracite or whatever the hell. They still say within their means as a classic team with a classic identity.
No, yeah, and there are people who probably who don't pay attention to this stuff, who aren't even aware that the Maple Leafs have changed.
Yeah.
I still think we were denied one of the greatest uniforms ever. We could have had the Maple Leafs with an X, which would have been the greatest of the graffiti uniforms. Just come on. That's just a missed opportunity. The whole thing with the fashion forward and all that, sometimes it works. I mean, sometimes you get a new uniform that's really good. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I mean, I'm not saying that to be a smart ass. I just can't think of any right now. Somebody's done some new looks so that we're good.
Yeah. I mean, we get them from time to time, but like, I don't know. I just think if you're designing jerseys to be worn specifically as like t-shirts or whatever, you're not doing it right.
Right. I don't want a t-shirt.
You're doing it right, just not for what we perceive as the right reason in this case.
Well,
like, you're going to do it to sell money, to make money, and you might make some. It might be hot and fire and whatever, but it's not going to. You're going to have to think of something new in 5 to 10 years.
Well, the argument against people like me with the traditional thing is they go, "You just don't like anything modern," which is not true at all. Oregon a couple of years ago in college football had these crazy wild. I loved them. It was the when they put like the silver wings on their helmet and. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they were really a really, really sharp look. And I said, I love this. This looks fantastic because, it was well done. It was well executed. That's the important thing. And God, you want to talk about getting in fights with designers. It's like, it just has to look good. And like, no, it's got to be more than that. It's like, no, it really doesn't. It's pretty simple, really. If it looks good, it looks good. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't care what you did or why you did it or what fucking sand it's supposed to represent or a rainbow or a unicorn or whatever the fuck the bullshit Nike speak they told you to put out there with it is. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. It's that simple. And we get so caught up in the minutia of, well, they did the ram horn this way and it's supposed to represent blah, blah. It's like, I don't care. It doesn't look good. Done. Simple. I guess if everybody handled it like that, the boards would just die tomorrow. But it's just to me, it's just a whole silly thing.
Yeah. The boards wouldn't die because what people think looks good is all a matter of taste and opinion. But you can still have a varying opinion on what looks good, and you can still create a brand that lasts. Like, think about the Cowboys, right? A brand that has not changed in decades upon decades upon decades, and yet people still find ways to complain about it. Because the silvers don't match, and what if they did this, or they should wear the blue more, or this, that, and whatever. But if the Cowboys, I think we could all agree that if the Cowboys came out tomorrow with some fashion forward silver road jersey, then we'd all have a flip.
Yeah,
we'd all have a fit.
Well, I just to make a point though, if the Cowboys did fix all those color problems, they would probably have. I don't know if somebody will always dispute it, but it would probably be pretty tough to argue against it being, if not the best look in the NFL, in the top 5 at all time. if they would just fix the little problems with it. I mean, if they matched all that shit up, oh my God, what a fantastic. I mean, it's really good now. And you look at it, it's got like, I don't know what, 3 different shades of blue. The pants are green almost, it's like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's so good, but man, it looks good. But I just, to go back to what you were saying a second ago, Zach, with the design and all that, it all is subjective. Our opinions are. And that's great. I'm all for that. But what drives me nuts is when you get people that supposedly know about this stuff and tell me that I'm wrong and here's why. That doesn't get very far with me. It's like I'm wrong about an opinion.
Yeah,
right?
no, which generally tends to come from the fashion forward crowd. I was gonna say the pro side of the design game, but it's not entirely true because it does come from them, but also got like these. You can go into the Falcons thread or the Rams thread. You see people who think that they are fucking on another level because they like this awful bullshit. Like, there's this one guy who's like, I think it's outdated to say that gradients are outdated. It's like, no, fuck you. All right, gradients are outdated, you asshole. And they've been outdated since the 90s, and they've been outdated since the 70s. Like
the 70s, yeah.
Like, God, like.
I mean, were gradients ever truly in? Like, aside
really.
from a tie-dye shirt, which, that's
the gradient being like
thing.
Dark to light or light to dark, like we see now.
Yeah.
That was a thing back when I was in like 8th grade. So, we're talking a very long time ago, probably 35, 40 years, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm the lucky bastard that gets to go. This is my 3rd time around with gradients. I can't tell you how thrilled I am by this. 3rd time around with these fucking things. They weren't good the first time, weren't good the second, aren't good this time either. No, but we'll try it again.
Mike and I dealt with gradients in probably elementary school.
Yeah.
Like that's just the way certain T-shirts might have looked. But again, if the Ducks had a gradient numbered, if the Mighty Ducks had made a gradient numbered graffiti looking jersey, I probably would have hated that too.
Yeah,
even when I was a kid, it wouldn't look like a sports team.
The thing is like, well, Zach is right. Like, he and I, we were the target audience for a lot of this shit when they did it.
Yeah.
And, we saw it happened, and we thought we had all moved on, but apparently not.
No, gradient is the look that refuses to die.
And it's not just that it refuses to die. It's like you get these people who pat themselves on the back because they dared to take the opinion. It's like, well, I think it's outdated to say gradients. It's like, fuck you. You're not that clever because you took a contrarian opinion. So get the fuck over yourself and understand that. A lot of us are here to just kind of discuss things that we're interested in and what looks good. And please just get over yourselves and stop trying to make yourselves feel special with a contrarian opinion. All right. It's not attractive.
Well, and
when a majority of because the boards are a fairly diverse place with fans of all different teams, of all different leagues, from North America, Europe, South America, from, wherever. There's plenty of diverse opinions on the boards for sure. But when you're in a minority of that, like on a particular discussion, you're probably wrong. And it's fine it's fine to say, I really like this, and admit like, hey, I know it doesn't look traditionally good, but I enjoy it. That's fine.
I respect that. I respect that all day long. Yeah.
But to say that like people just don't like change or don't like modern looks, it's like that's not true at all. We just don't
worse.
Garbage.
Don't understand it.
Right.
Like, you're gonna tell me I'm sure it's happened with the Rams somewhere along the way. I had to bail on that thread because it was the Rams. I stated my case. I'm like, this is what I think. See you around. I don't need to sit there and argue about it all day because nobody's gonna change my mind. There is no argument you can make to make me go, that's a good uniform. You're right. I'm sorry. I was wrong about that. That's just not gonna happen. But when I say like I don't like something, they go, well, you're wrong and here's why, or this is the reason why you're wrong. Well, that's bullshit. It's no, I don't like it because I don't like it. Sorry. And I've had numerous debates over the years with people over that I'm wrong, or that here's why I don't like something. This is why you should like it. Oh no, I'm sorry, but I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. But who is somebody dialing a rotary phone in the background?
Oh no, I'm I'm playing NHL right now while we're talking.
Oh, are you? Did you just score a goal?
No, I was on the forecheck.
What's the buzzing sound? What's that all about?
Oh, that's the controller vibrating. You can actually hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like I mean, you guys probably even know what a rotary phone sounds like, but yeah, it's what it sounds like you're dialing a number.
I understand the hitting because I'm hitting the sticks a little hard because it's a frustrating particular game. But
yeah. Oops. I should get it. I haven't played any video games. I'm trying to like save it for when I really need it. I had to go out and we went out and rode the motorcycles yesterday and made just the rookie mistake of all time. Unbelievable. It was 88 degrees and sunny out, and we got on the bikes and just took off without putting on any sunscreen. And my arms look like Kansas City Chiefs jerseys today. They're so red. Unbelievable. I was like, we were about an hour in, and I went, oh my God. I said, we got to stop and get some sunscreen. I'm like, this is probably like taking birth control after you're 2 months pregnant, but we'll try it anyway. And I just got cooked. I mean, my arms actually hurt today because they got burnt so bad.
It's a good traditional look, though, Greg.
Yeah, right. The Chiefs look. Yeah. Throw some yellow and white stripes in my arms, I'd be good to go. But yeah, so I cooked myself pretty good. But anyway.
We don't have any other jersey things going on because there's no other sports.
We can talk about we can talk about the Toronto Six in the National Women's Hockey League.
The what?
The NWHL, Greg. They have a new team, the Toronto Six.
Okay.
Which
I did see something about that.
There's the link.
They're called the Toronto Six because, Toronto is known as the Six.
Oh, I did see this. Yeah, this is the 75th anniversary NHL logo redone, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
okay.
They're the Six because, they're in Toronto, the Six. They are the sixth team in the league, and when the team is on the ice, there are 6 players, 5 forwards and a goalie.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah,
That's the first thing I would have thought of, actually. But okay. Do they have a jersey yet, or is this it? This is the Women's Hockey League.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very much the NHL 75th anniversary logo kind of pushed together.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Which is funny because it's a 7 and a 5 that makes a 6.
I'm going to make a really sexist joke here, but this is like the push-up bra version of the 75th logo. Oh, like tighten it up and.
Oh God! What I can't stand is that they are making it in Ottawa Senators colors. Like, good job, repping Toronto hockey with the Senators colors.
That was the first thing I thought about too.
Yeah.
But
I was just going to ask
what fun, Mike, is that whenever any of these players are on the team, they'll be part of that inaugural team. They'll be in original 6.
Yes, they will be part of the original 6. The first lineup to take the ice for that team will be the original 6.
Unfortunately, they're only going to be the 5th team in this league.
I thought they were the 6th team.
No. There's 4 teams according to the mothership: the Boston Pride, Buffalo Buttes, Connecticut Whale, and New York Riveters.
I think they lost a team. They used to have another team, so maybe this is the 5th in their history.
I wonder where they got the idea to call the Connecticut team the Whale. That's interesting, right?
You wouldn't believe what their colors are, Greg.
Tell me they're not the same.
It's green and blue.
Of course.
Oh, okay. No, there is another team. There is a 5th team. Sorry, there is the Minnesota Whitecaps.
Oh, that's not even close to North Stars. Okay. I was going to say with the women's league, I mean, I'd get it if it were like a competitor. Well, I guess this is a competitor. I mean, I don't want to dismiss it like that, but why not do the blue and white? Like why not hook yourself up with Toronto hockey history?
Toronto did have a women's team in the Canadian Women's Hockey League
called
the Toronto Furies, whose logo was a blue TF over top like a Toronto Maple Leaf style maple leaf.
Okay.
But they wanted to go. I guess they didn't want to just be seen as the Lady Maple Leafs, so they went with the 6.
All right. Well, that's about as dumb a name as you're going to find, but okay. The 6. The Fury. Oh, there is a Furies. I see that in the article now. I was just kind of looking at the logos.
Pretty sick to be the 6th, right? right? Isn't that what they?
Why is the 6? Is that's something to do with the area code, right?
Well, there's 6 boroughs.
Oh, okay.
Isn't the area code like 416? Is that
yeah?
right?
Well, there's 2. Toronto has 2 area codes, and the common number between both of them is 6. So
that's a bit of a stretch, but okay.
Look, Drake came up with it, so.
Oh well, if Drake came up with it, then of course I'm
Global
wrong.
ambassador
right?
of fun, Drake.
Exactly.
Therefore,
That's my mistake. Sorry about that. I'm trying to find the Connecticut whale. Where are they? I want to see their colors. There's no link to. Oh, let me see. Hold on. I'll just go to the link to the main page. National Women's Hockey League. There we go. I get it. The Buttes. Beauts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's and they thought I was sexist. Come on.
Well, and then was the New York Riveters based on Rosie the Riveter?
Yeah. The Boston Pride, because Boston overrun with large cats like it is.
Well, they also just have Pride. What else was there?
There's only 4 teams. This is from 2015. The New York Riveters. Well, that's their only logo. Interesting. Anyway,
no, it says they have 6 teams according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia says they have 6 teams.
Right,
but
the Minnesota Whitecaps.
Yeah, the mothership hasn't included the Whitecaps yet.
Oh, come on, Chris. You got to get on top of that. Let's go. I can sleeping on the National Women's Hockey League here. Well, good for them. I mean, I'm always I know that I'm we're kind of having fun with this, but I support women's sports in professional level.
Oh,
That's
sure.
great. Yeah.
No, the NWHL is a good thing to have. It's not supported properly at all by the people that run it, by the NHL, by hockey fans at large. But it's still a good thing to have. The problem right now that women's hockey has still is they had 2 different leagues, the CHL or the CWHL and the NWHL, the Canadian League and this American League, and they wouldn't play against each other, and they didn't want to combine, and the NWHL was trying to pay their players, and the CWHL was not. They play in these like podunk rinks because they can only get so many people to show up to a professional women's hockey game, unfortunately, and there's just a lot of issues that women's hockey faces at a professional level, despite the United States and Canada being the elite women's hockey teams in the world.
Yeah.
So you'd think this would be, there'd be interest, but.
Well, you think that the NHL would do what the NBA has done with the WNBA, where the WNBA doesn't make money.
But it's supported.
Right. But the NBA has promised to forever support it, where the NHL's kind of like, we don't want it. When there was 2 leagues, Gary Benton was like, we don't want to pick sides.
Now there's only 1 league, so.
We need money for the COVID.
Anyway.
Well, moving on to other things, just random shit, but this is something that came up on the board, so I figured we could talk about it. We've got the new Toucan Sam.
Oh, I forgot to look at that. I wanted to see that. Hold on a minute.
Excuse me?
Yes, new Toucan Sam.
Okay,
from
for some
Fruit Loops.
reason that... Okay, remove that. All right, yeah, for some reason that didn't... Okay, so I'm going to send this to you guys. Toucan Sam is now an anime character, more or less.
No.
I'm just need to save.
I saw the article. I saw the thread on the boards. Hold on, let me see if I can find it again.
Okay, there we go. So here is the new Toucan Sam. Boom.
Oh no! No.
Ew. Again, don't mess with the classic design. That's not
right. Exactly.
I don't even think the kids had a preference. I think the kids still love old Toucan Sam.
Now he is he's straight up. He's an anime character.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, come on. He's not even rendered as well. He's not drawn as well. That's terrible.
But that's kind of the current style among cartoon characters.
I don't care. It's not as good. It's just not as good. You're right. Don't mess with the classics.
And now it's not even like his beak it makes like a rainbow. It's just like this tie-dye thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really odd looking.
Well, I remember a few years ago when they redesigned the Trix Rabbit, and I was very offended. But
did they redesign the Trix Rabbit? What?
At some point, they did the same thing where they made him kind of less detailed, and he's, you know, more modern cartoon character. But yeah, you're right that what's going on in his beak is bad. That baby blue instead of that deep royal blue is bad.
Well, if you look at the picture of him on the left, you can see that he has like the two colors of blue on his body, but they don't get it right here at all. No, I mean, they tried to the light blue with down his side with the wings. I mean, that's kind of correct with the white in the middle, but it just doesn't look right. It just looks weird. The whole thing looks weird. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
No,
I can't believe this is the point we've reached in the apocalypse here, folks. We are now talking about cereal logos.
Well, normally, like when the other Toucan Sam was telling me to follow my nose wherever it goes, I would believe him. This one, I would not.
No.
But now, see, this is what happens. You've opened the rabbit hole. Now, speaking of rabbits, we have to find out what happened to the Trix Rabbit. I did not know they had done this.
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
The tiger.
It's less egregious, but still a thing.
If they redesign Tony the Tiger, I'm going to.
That they can't do that, right? They can't.
Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, I see the new Trix Rabbit. So
he's been around for a bit.
Yeah, so this is the this right here is the new Trix Rabbit.
Let's see. Okay, that's not terrible. It's different, but if you look, I mean, he's kind of gone over. He's gone through quite a few changes over the years. Because I'm looking at a picture on Google, on a search I did, and there's one that goes way back to looks like the 50s or 60s, I guess. And he's basically looks like I drew him. Yeah. I'm trying to see what he looks like today.
No, that is what he looks like today. The one.
No, I mean, I know the picture you sent. I mean, I want to see him on a box, is what I meant.
Oh, and I got you on that. Here you go. Let me just pull the picture up here. Yeah, here he is on a box. Why is this not saving properly? Jesus Christ. Save image. Fuck. I don't know. But yeah, I
got him on the box here. No, I don't either. This is the old guy I'm looking at.
Here you go. I've got him. Just save that. Boom. Boom. Get rid of that. All right. Yeah, here is the new Trix Rabbit on a box.
Yeah.
Wow, you know what? That's kind of like a throwback look, actually, believe it or not. Let me find the picture here. I'll send it to you. With the gray outline. Copy image address. Check this out and tell me this isn't like he isn't like mostly inspired by this. Look at us talking about freaking cereal labels now. But check out the picture on the left. Tell me he's like from box to box. I mean, he's closer to the one on the left than he is on the one on the right now.
Yeah, but the one on the right is the one that I grew up with. Damn it!
Exactly.
Me too. I don't even remember this guy on the left. But look how they're both outlined in gray and they're kind of like less expressive and all that. I'm sorry. I got to go with the old one again. And a surprise to no one.
Disagree.
You like the new one better, Zach?
No, I mean I like the 90s version.
The 90s version. Yeah. Fuck. Now the one. So the two cereal mascots that are to me sacred are again Tony the Tiger and Captain Crunch.
I was gonna say Captain Crunch got to be there too, right?
God help them if they redesign Captain Crunch.
Has he not been?
I mean, I'm sure he's been.
He's been tweaked over the years. I'm pretty sure.
The last time that I was in the store, he's the same on the box that I remember. But I seem to remember him like being updated to a more modern cartoon aesthetic in a commercial.
Oh yeah, he's definitely been updated. I'm looking at what they're using now. That's definitely an update from when I was a kid.
Like to me. So to me, and I'm sure to Zach, like this is this is proper Captain Crunch right here. Like that's.
Let's see. To you guys, yeah.
Yeah, that's Captain Crunch.
Okay, again, for comparison's sake here, I'll show you the one I grew up with compared to what he is today. On the left.
Oh God. Well, you see, that's not too bad. Like,
no, but he's just updated. I mean, obviously you can't make him look like that today. I mean, I guess you could, but it wouldn't work as well. So,
but yeah, God help them if they change Captain Crunch to like some anime atrocity. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can see that basically my version of Captain Crunch to today's version is just, obviously you can render things better and all that. He still looks essentially the same, but yeah, I didn't realize he was that simple when I was a kid. Simple looking, but he is. Wow. Okay, this is probably the one I'm more familiar with. Here, let me show you this one. People are probably they're like going, okay, well, listen to these guys talking about fucking cereal boxes now.
Look, man.
This is the one. This is that's my version of Captain Crunch there.
The super chill Captain Crunch.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but
hey, man,
come a little better drawn, a little better.
Come get some cereal, man.
All right. The one that's high on weed, Captain Crunch. That's my guy.
Let's see. Oh God, Google has ideas if you type in Captain Crunch redesign.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, okay. You know what? Despite me saying that they better not mess with Captain Crunch, I would be totally on board if Captain Crunch went in this direction.
Okay, I gotta see this.
Boom.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Hydra Crunch there. There we go. That's the Hydra version of Captain Crunch.
You got the Cthulhu beard going, and it's not even a box. It's like a bag of cereal.
Oh, that's too good. I got to save that.
There's... Oh, God, we hit the bottom of the barrel here, but when I typed Captain Crunch redesign, this came up. Not exactly a redesign, but this is some dedicated fan art. Here we go. Captain Crunch wrestling Tony the Tiger as Toucan Sam on.
Wow.
There you
Cereal
go.
Wars.
That's
Cereal
amazing.
Oh, if we do want to talk about sports, there is some sports news that we can't talk about.
All right. Well, we're about an hour and 10 minutes in. We want to save it for next time, or we want to go with it now?
Let's just go with it now.
Yeah, right. These things will change so fast, so who knows? But the two leagues that we're waiting on starting back up have sort of plans kind of working in place. I think we talked about the NHL one a little bit, but they officially finalized that if they do end up starting again, the plan will be the top 12 in each conference will do playoffs of some sort, with the top 4 teams in each conference having first round buys. And those 4 teams will all play each other for seeding, I guess. And then
okay.
And then the other teams will play in a first round, but the NHL is telling us that first round is actually still the regular season and not the playoffs.
Though, God, why, Ed? Why do you have to? Why are you the way that you are, hockey?
Do we even care at this point? I mean, honest to God, really?
Just fucking take the teams that would have made the playoffs at the start of the, when the season got canceled, and just do it.
But you have a bunch of people that are like, well, there were teams that were 1 point out at the time, and they didn't know that was.
You know what? They're going to be at game 82. There's going to be teams that
plague descended on us.
Well, not only that, but you know what? They're going to be teams that are 1 point out at the end of the season too. It doesn't matter.
Who the
fuck? But those teams didn't get the chance to play to the end.
You know what? I don't care. I mean, right now,
right? It sucks. Deal with it.
Right. I mean, we're trying to find fairness in a world where this all happened. There's no fairness here. If you got to play it all, then just do it or don't.
There's going to be, so run this by me again, Zach. There's going to be a bye for the
top 12 in each conference. The top four teams will get a quote unquote bye. Well, then they'll still be playing games to determine seeding, but they cannot be eliminated if they lose.
That's just, oh my God.
Okay, and then the other teams play each other
for the other playoff spots. Yes.
But that's not, but even though it's a tournament, it's not the play, it's still the regular season.
Technically speaking, yeah.
Okay. Now all right. This brings up a very good question.
That's for like draft position and stuff like that.
This brings up a really good question, and this has been coming up a lot when they're talking about bringing teams back. We've already seen it happen in Germany in the whatever that league's called, the soccer league.
The Bundesliga,
right. What happens if, let's say, I don't remember who the top 4 teams are anymore, but let's say that, what would it be, like Boston, and who would be another top 4 team in the
Boston? I think it was Boston, Philly, Washington, and Tampa.
Okay, so let's say Boston and Washington are playing each other, right? And a player tests positive. We saw this happen in Germany. That team had to sit down for 14 days, not the player, the entire team. So you're playing these stupid seeding games, and you could risk losing one of the top 4 teams in each conference, or either conference, I should say. So that's idiotic. If you're going to do this, don't throw out games just for the hell of it. You know, I mean, seeding, I suppose is important, but really, at this point, does it matter? You know, the 4 teams get a bye. That's the end of it. You know, draw straws, whatever. But you're risking,
right? But the problem with those teams that get a bye is that, normally speaking, there are no buys in the NHL, and so
this isn't normal. This isn't.
I know, but you want the teams to not. Basically, their argument was, you don't want to have a situation where the 12th place team in the conference wins its first round match, plays the number 1 seed who hasn't done anything meaningful in months, and they step on the ice and get steamrolled because the other teams played a few games.
Kind of like Columbus and Tampa last year. I get it.
Yeah.
I just had to bring that up. I know that's not even close to being similar. I just had to throw it in.
Yeah. but the difference with that, of course, is that Tampa was still playing. They just weren't playing good enough.
Right.
Whereas this would be them sitting around literally for, what is it going to be now, 4, 5, 6 months by the time they.
Which goes back to, I think, Mike's original point, which is take just do the regular playoffs, pick up from whatever the standings were at the time, and be done with it.
Yeah.
That's the only fair way. But the point I'm making, and we've already seen it happen in the soccer league in Germany, is that if a player tests positive, you know, that's it. That team's, and I think I don't know. One of the guys on the boards posted this in the thread that team may end up forfeiting 3 games because of this. Yeah. So what are you going to do? I mean, to me at this point, it's like, does anybody even care at this point? I mean, if you could bring it back full bore,
you absolutely must do this 24 team thing, because it's like, oh, there are teams that were playing. We want to give everyone a chance. Like, if you want to do that, then the easiest 24 team setup is to just bite the fucking bullet and do a straight bracket, like March Madness.
Yeah.
And shit.
Yeah.
Like, just do 24 teams, single elimination till we get to like the top 8 or something. Like, I don't know.
My argument at this point, and as much as I want to see them play, you know, I would love to see sports again, but by the time they end up starting this, like, we're going to be past the point that any Stanley Cup final would have been finished anyway. Mm-hmm. Just wait for the next season. Call it a loss and just wait for next season.
I would be
sucks, but just do it.
I would be all on board with all of these restarting plans if there was a way to go full tilt. Okay, we're bringing it back full on like it was before we left. I'd be okay with it. But to jump through all these hoops and do all these ridiculous plans and all that just to play it in an empty arena just seems like a complete and utter waste of time to me. I understand that it's not as simple as just whether or not I'm entertained or you're entertained or whatever. There's TV contracts that have to be fulfilled, and all that. But
that's really the only reason I think that they're even pushing for this. If there wasn't TV money involved, I have no doubt that they would just say, you know what, we're going to be doing whatever we do this season to finish up this season is going to majorly affect what we do with the next season. So just
you got to, but you know what you got to do though at this point, really, with the TV money, especially for the NHL and the NBA, is you've got to, like, you're not going to get it back. I mean, I know they think that if they go back on, that everybody's going to watch, and it'll be a curiosity at first, but I saw it happen in NASCAR. They had like 6 million viewers for the first race. And I promise you it wasn't a third of that yesterday, if that, because it's just weird. It's the only way to put it. It's weird watching it like in this dystopian hellscape. It's like, okay, there's a race going on, but there's no people. Everybody's wearing these masks. it doesn't really accomplish what the goal is, which is to take you away from all this. It just drives home the point to me.
Did any of you guys watch the charity golf thing yesterday?
Yeah,
Zach did. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the second half of it. I mean, it was fun, but it's certainly not something that like replaces totally what sports is. I mean, it's fun. It was awesome to see Tom Brady suck at something.
He did make a hell of a wedge shot though, or whatever, a long iron shot or short iron shot. Oh my god!
He did make that one incredible shot, which again was still kind of a failure on his part because when he went to go pick up the ball, he ripped his pants.
Yeah.
So that's
good. Yeah. But I look, I would love to. I mean, I'm sure there was some skill in being able to hit the ball that well, but that was all luck. That wasn't like, I mean, most of the shots are obviously, but a hell of a shot. But if you gave him 100 tries, you'd never be able to do it again.
No, of course not.
But that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was fun for what it was. I know it got like the best golf ratings on cable ever.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting. But I think that's
I think that's
point
just
of like
people starved for live sports, and it was like this was a thing.
I mean, that's what I mean.
And people were trapped inside.
Remember, you got to remember when this thing first started, 1 million or like almost 2 million people tuned in to watch a freaking video game NASCAR race. So, but the NASCAR thing, you know, I like with 6 million viewers, like this is the biggest NASCAR race ever, getting all these new fans. It's like they're not going to stick because it's still. You still got to know the sport. I mean, if you're just watching cars go in a circle after a while, you go, yeah, well, it's cool. It's live and all that, but I don't know what the hell's going on. And off they go again. But I think with the NHL and the NBA, it's just, we've passed the point now. I mean, it's Memorial Day weekend. So any startup, best case scenario is what, July 1st, probably at this point?
Yeah, I think July is what.
Yeah, I mean, the players
like
say
they just opened up training facilities this week for 6 players at most at a time.
They say they want the NHL. The players say that they want, you know, the training camp. Again, I'm saying no. Let's just go into it. Like no like just everyone's raw. Like
again,
chaos.
my thing is like how long does this take, and then how much time do you need to start up the next season already?
Right.
Like I just think this is going to adversely affect next season. Much more.
It will, absolutely. It will. It's going to take 3 years to like kind of get out of this cycle.
Right.
Yeah, and like and with the TV money and
so why do it?
Yeah. Well, with the TV money, I mean, you're only talking the loss of a couple months of the season. You can't. I understand it's a lot of money, and it's money that's just going to have to be either back-ended, where they're going to go, okay, next season or before the contract's up, you get, 20 free games or whatever they lost. I mean, if there's no way to do this and do it right, and you all things being equal, even when it's all said and done, you still run the risk of somebody testing positive and wiping out an entire team for 2 weeks. And then what? So now it's like, okay, coming up on CBS this Saturday, we've got, the Rams and blah, blah, blah. In our first game, in our second game, we're going to finish up the series between the Blue Jackets and the whoever's. Come on.
Right. Well, and it's not even just shutting down the one team necessarily, because the idea, and we'll talk, we can mention what the NBA is going to do too, which kind of affects them more too. But the idea for the NHL would be to have 2 different neutral sites, kind of group the teams that way. At least that's what it is right now. That's the part that they still. The only thing that they've agreed on is what the format will be if they play. What they still have to do is the testing and the locations and the lodging and the arenas and everything else that has to go along with it. And then, so to kind of translate that to what the NBA is, the NBA's idea is to right now the idea that they're working on a lot, I guess, is to have a campus-like environment, as they keep saying, at the Wide World of Sports in Orlando. Where they have multiple basketball courts and then all the Disney hotels, of course. And then they also have broadcasting facilities to be able to, do these games and finish up the regular season and do a playoff in what they deem appropriate. But to the same argument that they just put forth with, what happens if one team. But if you're just shutting down one team and they've actually played against somebody, is it really just the one team? Do you then have to worry about in the NHL's case, the other 12 teams? And in the NBA's case, would you then have to worry about the entire league just shutting back down again?
Right. It's right now with as more data comes out, we can figure this out. And the smartest move to make right now for both of these leagues is to say, look, until the new data is in, because already we're starting to see, okay, it may not be as dangerous to play. I think playing up in close proximity to each other like that's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Basketball
in particular.
Yeah, you're running a very high risk of transmission, especially in basketball. Hockey, you can do the plastic face masks and all that. And you could probably mitigate a lot of it, but the risk would still be there, probably not nearly as high. But as the data comes in, there's just too many unknowns out there right now to even attempt this. And, with golf, like if the PGA comes back, well, that's one thing, because if you lose Phil Mickelson.
They are on June 30th.
Right. But if you lose Phil Mickelson, you don't lose the entire, you don't lose half the league or whatever. Same in NASCAR. If one driver tests positive, you lose that driver and that team. That's it. Everything else can go forward. You can run a NASCAR race with 38 cars instead of 40. You can play a PGA tournament with 40 golfers instead of 50. You know what I mean? An NBA playoff or an NHL playoff, if it's a 12-team playoff, you can't play it with 10 teams. It's just not fair. So that's the issue they run into. But I think the smartest move would be to wait till the data comes in. We're learning more every day with this thing. And maybe go, you know what? Maybe by October, we can actually do this right and go back. We're going to have to scrap that season. That sucks. But you can work out the money. You can work out the money. That's the easiest part of this whole thing, is to figure out the money part of it.
I think, I agree. I think you should just, that the NBA and the NHL should just say, we put all of our best efforts into it and we just can't do it, which is fine, because even in the NHL's case, there's already, what would that be? 7 teams that know that no matter, even if the season comes back, their season is done. Like the Ducks, for instance. In the original 2014 plan that we talked about, when it was like 16 per division, the Ducks would have made it as a team. But now that it's the top 12, they're not going to make it in, so they don't have to worry about getting in shape and working out and the logistics of it all, because they're done. Yeah. Whereas, other teams might. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is just NBA and NHL just need to take the L on this, I think, and then let baseball be the one to start next. And if it's not baseball, then football is going to push real hard to get this thing in on time.
Football is where you're going to see the crowds come back. I really believe that. And I don't know what that, but again, everybody keeps talking. We got to wait for a vaccine. The fastest vaccine ever from concept to completion was 5 years. The Ebola vaccine. We can't wait for a vaccine. I mean, we could, but you're going to destroy a lot of jobs. And I'm not just talking like NFL players or coaching staffs. I'm talking like, people that work at the stadiums, parking lot attendants, all. I mean, it's just, you can't. At some point, we just got to go, fuck it, we got to do it. I'm not saying that we just run out and, fuck it, let's all dive back in the pile. But as research comes in, there's got to be ways to do this so we can do it safely. Take the L, NHL and NBA, be done with it, give it up. I wouldn't even be too heartbroken to see baseball go, we can't see a reasonable way of doing this, so we're going to call it a season 2.
For our newspaper this week, I did a story on what all these sports leagues did back in 1918. During the Spanish flu, and I found this great picture of these baseball players. Or it was the batter, the catcher, and the umpire, and they were all wearing face masks during the game. Well, just do that. The only time you're in real close proximity is when you're in the dugout, but
or on the base pass, kind of. But yeah, somebody's got to be the canary that we send into the coal mine. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And eventually we'll figure it out. But I hate to break it to people. The coronavirus, or COVID-19, this particular version of a coronavirus, is not going away. Not for a long time, maybe ever. Just like SARS is still out there, and H1N1 is still out there, and the swine flu is still out there. This is going to be out there too. We are just going to have to find a way to live with it. It's as simple as that. I'd be all for the sports coming back if you could go full tilt, but if you can't, let's not bother. Let's not do something stupid, because any championship in the NBA or the NHL, the minute you bring up that team winning, everybody's going to go, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who needs all that? Fuck it. It's not important. Let's call it a night, guys, because we're going to hit an hour and a half here. And last week, the recording stopped at that point. So,
alrighty.
We'll reconvene next week. We'll finish up the Ask Us Anything. Thanks for tuning in, folks. As always, follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, the YouTubes, Stitcher, and the Spreaker. We'll see you next time.
Later.